Hello everyone, in this lecture we will learn how to handle checkbox and radio button in Selenium. First of all, we will understand what is checkbox. Checkboxes are used to let a user select one or more options of a limited number of choices. It is shown as a square box. When it is ticked or checked by the user, it means the option is selected. Here you see, right, these are the checkboxes. You can click on these checkboxes. Basically, you can select or unselect these checkboxes. We can select any one option or we can select multiple options also. That depends on the functionality. Okay. So, now let us see how we can select it through Selenium. So, the first thing is we need to identify this web element. Okay. So, let us say here we want to select this sports checkbox. Okay. So, the first thing we will try to identify this web element. For that, what you will do? You can do a right click and then you can select inspect. Okay. Here we see different attributes like ID, name, type and class and all. Alright. So, one more thing, if you will notice here, in most of the cases checkboxes are identified using the input tag name. Okay. Input tag name. Also, each checkbox on a web page has an attribute called type with value as checkbox. So, for each checkbox you will get input as a tag name and then attribute as a type with value checkbox. Okay. So, let us write XPath for this, right. So, what we will write? We will write input, okay, / input and then you can write @ ID equal to whatever the ID here, right. Let us say hobbies. Okay. Okay. So, it is identifying this web element, right. You can see this is getting highlighted. Okay. Let us copy this and let us go to our PyCharm. So, the first thing, let me create a new Python file, okay, and let me name it as checkbox, okay, and what I will do, I will try to copy the code from our previous file, okay. So, here what I will do, I will remove all these things. We have already learnt about these things, that is why I am not repeating it. I am just copying the code to launch the browser and then navigate to this particular URL, then we will write our own code. Okay. So, here we are navigating to this URL and here we are maximizing the window. Okay. Then the next thing what we will do, we will try to identify the checkbox web element and then we will try to click there. Okay. So, let me copy this again, okay, and here what we will write, driver dot find element, okay, by dot XPath. Okay. What is the XPath? This is your XPath. Okay. So, what you can do here? You can do dot click. Okay. So, when you will do a dot click, it will get clicked, that checkbox will get clicked. Okay. So, if you want to verify if that checkbox is really clicked or not, what you will do? You need to verify that, right, whether it is really clicked or not. Okay. So, for that, first of all, let me put it into, so checkbox is equal to driver dot find element by dot XPath. Let me just remove this and okay. Then here I will say checkbox dot click. Okay. Same thing I am doing, I am just writing it like this, so it will be easy for you to understand. Okay. So, first we identified the web element and then we are clicking on that. Then the next thing we want to do is we want to check whether it is selected or not, right. So, for that what you can do? You can do checkbox dot is selected. Okay. You can do this. So, when we clicked on the checkbox will be selected, but how we will verify it whether it is really selected or not, right. So, for that we can use isSelected method. Okay. It will return true if the checkbox is selected. If it is not selected, it will return false. Okay. So, here we can see the return type of isSelected method is boolean. Okay. So here you see it is as a boolean. Okay. Boolean means true or false based upon your selection. So here we can add one assertion to verify this result, right. So we can write assert checkbox dot isSelected. It means if it is true, then the test case will pass. If it is false, then test case will fail. Okay. So let's execute this, right click and then run checkbox. Okay. We'll see whether it is getting selected and then it is getting checked or not. Okay. So here you see the browser is launched. Okay. This got selected. Okay. And verification also happened. That's why you didn't see any error here. Okay. Let's say let me just comment out this one. Okay. Then we should see our test case should fail. Okay. Then let me right click and execute it again. Okay. This time our test case will fail. See here what it is telling, assertion error, assert checkbox dot isSelected. It means this particular method returned false because it is not selected, right. So now you understood how you can click on one checkbox and then you can verify whether it is really selected or not. Okay. Similarly, we can also select a radio button. Okay. So let me just comment out this part. Okay. So first of all, what is a radio button? A radio button is an HTML element which allows the user to select only one of the given option. A radio button in HTML is defined using input tag and an attribute type which will have the value as radio. Okay. So let's see that. So here we see these three are the radio buttons. Okay. You can select any one of them. Okay. So let me just do a right click and try to inspect it. Okay. So here you see input is the tag and then attribute type is there whose value is radio. Okay. So let's write the XPath for this. Okay. So what we can do, we can just copy this and we'll write /input @ name equal to gender. Let's see. Okay. This is getting selected. So let me just copy it. Let's go to our PyCharm. Okay. So here what we will do, we will write. Okay. So this one is for code for checkbox and here code for radio button. Okay. So here what we will write, driver dot find element. Okay. Again by dot XPath. Okay. Here we will write the XPath and what you want to do here, again you want to click here, right, dot click. Okay. If you just don't want to write like this, here you can write radio is equal to this, then radio dot click. Okay. Again if you want to verify whether it is really selected or not, so what you can do, assert radio dot isSelected. So basically isSelected method will return you true if that particular radio button is selected. It will return false if that radio button is not selected. Okay. Similarly, there are a few more things, right, whether that radio button is really displayed or not, right. So if you want to verify that, we have one method. Okay. So before we click on that radio button, we need to see whether that radio button is really displayed in the browser. Okay. So for that what you can do, you can write radio dot isDisplayed. Okay. So isDisplayed is a method which will help you to verify whether that particular radio button is displayed in that browser or not. Okay. So for that again you can write assert radio dot isDisplayed. Similarly, there is one more method, you can write radio dot isEnabled. It means whether that particular radio button is active or not. Okay. If it is active, then only you can click on it, right. If it is not active or if it is not enabled, you cannot do that, right. So you can also verify it. So first of all you are verifying whether it is really displayed, then you are verifying whether that radio button is active, then you are clicking on it, and once you click on it, then you are telling whether it is selected or not. Okay, so let's execute and see. See, this got selected and our test case is also passed. It means all these things worked fine. So, if you just want to see whether it is really not selected and then whether it is not clicked and then you are trying to verify this, you can just comment this and then run this. I am not showing for isDisplayed or isEnabled method because that is already enabled. And okay, so here you see assertion error. Okay, it means as we didn't click here, that's why this particular method failed here. Okay, so just uncomment and run it, it should work fine. Okay, so here it got completed, so there is no issues. So you saw different methods how you can verify one radio button. Okay, so you learned how to manage checkboxes, how to manage radio buttons. Okay, so that's all for this lecture. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.